right, so thank you for tuning in. This video is going to be about slavery by another name, which is known as convict leasing. All right, so the convict leasing system, right? Slavery in its worst aspects. So this is just basically the precursor to the for-profit prison system that we have today in this United States. And it is empowered by the 13th Amendment, the same amendment that was so-called used to set Negroes free from the plantation is also used to keep them in a new form of slavery. All right, so let's take a look at this 13th Amendment. This is from National Archives, so it is archives.gov, right? Government website. The 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution provides that, quote, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction, end quote. All right, so with that being said, let's take a look at this article. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So they put this in the article. That's again the 13th Amendment, right, from 1865. But I wanted to read it from the government excerpt from their website first so that you could, see it, what it actually says from the source. All right, and this image you see here, African-American convicts working with shovels, possibly the singers of, quote, Rock Island Line, end quote, at Common State Farm, Gould, Arkansas in 1934. So that's that image. While many believe that the 13th Amendment ended slavery, there was an exemption that was used to create a prison convict leasing system of involuntary servitude to fill the labor supply shortage in the southern states after the Civil War. Black codes, that's something else you can dig into. Black codes regulated the lives of African Americans, and justice-involved individuals were often convicted of petty crimes like walking on the grass, you can't make this up, vagrancy, and stealing food. Arrests were often made by professional crime hunters who were paid for each quote-unquote criminal arrested, and apprehensions often escalated during times of increased labor needs. In other words, when these companies needed more free labor, suddenly there was an increase in criminals that they arrested. Does that sound familiar to 2023? I think so. Let's continue. Even those who were declared innocent in the courts were often placed in this system when they could not pay their court fees. Look at that. Companies and individuals paid leasing fees to state, county, and local governments in exchange for the labor of prisoners in farms, mines, lumber yards, brick yards, manufacturing facilities, factories, railroads, and road construction. In other words, everything that's important to run this country at the time, they had so-called Negroes working for free, and it was mostly black men. All right? The convict leasing fees generated substantial amounts of revenue for the southern state, county, and local budgets, and lasted through World War II. World War II ended in the 1940s. So much for slavery being a long time ago, 100 and some years ago. This is just slavery by another name, right? So anybody that tell you slavery was a long time ago in the United States, they're either ignorant, right, or they are lying to you, because that's what this is. Let's continue. Look at this quote. It says, "We punish a man who steals a loaf. If he steals an entire railroad, we say a financier. Let us ask him to dinner." Reverend Dr. Wayland, So what this quote is saying, if a so-called black man steals a loaf of bread, they punish him with this slavery, right? But if a so-called white man steals an entire railroad, you understand, they say he's a financier. That means he's a financial businessman. That's what they're saying. And they ask him to dinner. Can't make this up. And it's a quote from The Crime of Crimes of the Convicts, or the Convict System Unmasked, right? Now, this image is an image of the Tennessee Coal, Iron, and Railroad Company's furnaces in Enslave, Alabama, 1910 through 1911. The Tennessee Coal, Iron, and Railroad Company, TCI, one of the original 12 companies listed in the Dow Jones Industrial Index. So people invest in the Dow Jones today, don't they? Exactly. That's why reparations are suitable, right? Actually, more than reparations, but that'll be a separate discussion. Was one of the largest users of prison laborers. So when you see the Dow Jones Industrial Average on the Money Channel and all these ticker symbols and stuff, just remember they started from this free labor. They were one of the largest users of prison laborers, mostly comprised of African Americans convicted of petty crimes. Petty crimes, meaning stuff that not even that serious. The number of convicts employed increased after United States Steel, the largest corporation in the world at the time, formerly known as U.S. Steel and USX, acquired TCI in 1907. The working and living conditions for these prisoners were brutal, as companies leasing convicts sought to house, clothe, and feed them for minimal expense, with little interest in their survival. That's how you know it's slavery, because they didn't care if you died. Let's keep going. Justice-involved individuals were housed in rough board shanties, unfit for the habitation of human beings. Torture and beatings were common. This is in the 1900s, y'all, not the 1800s, in this great United States. And countless individuals perished from abuse. That means they died. Poor and dangerous working conditions, communicable diseases such as tuberculosis, malaria, and pneumonia, and from environmental conditions like contaminated water. And just so you know, if one of your ancestors had a disease like tuberculosis, they pass traits down in their DNA to you, which can cause you to have asthma or other related issues, and you don't even know where it comes from. So we're still suffering from this stuff today if any of these people are our fathers or mothers who got these diseases from these working conditions. Yes, that stuff is still in your DNA, and that may be why you have allergies or asthma or other conditions, and you don't even know why it was passed down to you. So I'm showing you why now. The nominal wages given to the prison laborers drives honest labor out of employment and into starvation. Let me break that down. The low wages that was given to these black men that worked as prison laborers, it drove honest labor. It means free black men, free brothers, right? Trying to work and take care of their family outside of prison. They couldn't compete with the prison convict labor because it was so dirt cheap. So that means they use so many brothers for dirt cheap hourly wages in the prison that if you're a free man, they didn't have to pay you a fair wage, and you could be driven out of employment into starvation. To make it plain, if they lock you up today and they work you for $1 an hour or for like $3 or $4 a day to do the same job that brothers are doing out here for $18 and $20 per hour, $22 per hour, why would they keep paying them $18 to $20 some an hour when they can just work you for $3 or $4 a day in the prison? But look how unfair that is to the brothers outside the prison. That's why I'm still saying it, and I don't care how many of you don't like it. You black women listening to Dr. Umar and whoever else, and I ain't just picking on him, anybody else who says it. Stop blaming us for all of your problems, because I'm showing you here that this country has a history of working the hell out of black men, and not paying them and finding a way to move them out of the marketplace. And I'm telling you that this same slavery by another name is going on today. It's just not as obvious. These people are not stupid. They know how to hide their hand while doing evil, but they appear to be righteous in the public while stabbing you in your back. Understand that. Now let's keep going. Many institutions in the late 1800s and early 1900s employed convict labor as a way to avoid strikes, shortages of laborers, and high turnover. High turnover means you quit because you're trying to go to a job that pays more money. So they just replace you with a criminal that they arrested for no reason, and now he's working for free or almost free, and now they don't even need you, so-called black man. The for-profit prisons are doing some of this right now. Understand that. Convict leasing undermines competitive labor markets and decreases living standards by reducing wage and employment rates among the free population. Now that's as clear as I can make it to you. They were doing it then, and I'm telling you, they are doing it now. Government use of prison labor can distort incentives for incarceration, particularly in the for-profit prison system. What they just said is, when the government uses prison labor, it can distort or pervert the reason or the incentive for incarceration. In other words, they will lock you up so they can get paid and make a profit, not because you actually committed a crime. I'm going to say that one more time. They will lock you up or distort the incentive for locking you up. They will put you in jail so they can make money, not because you are a threat to the community and a criminal. That's what they're saying. Particularly in the for-profit prison system, which we have today. Just like back then, the Coal Creek War was an early 1890s armed labor struggle across Tennessee that was launched against the state government's convict leasing system. The labor movement fought against it, because it resulted in suppressing employee wages and increasing unemployment. At the same time, manufacturers rallied against the system because they could not compete against companies deploying cheap convict labor, right? So there's some more images there. Untitled photo possibly related to Georgia convicts working on a road in Oglethorpe County. That's 1941. I'm just showing you in the 1900s, the prison system is meant for slavery. They're not really trying to clean up criminal activity, because if they were, there would be less crime already. I'm telling you right now. The crime in your neighborhood, if you have it there, is going exactly as this so-called government has planned it to go, right? And there's a few exceptions. See, that's why it's so slick. You're always going to have somebody saying, but I'm actually trying to make change. Yeah, you are, but this system is still operating just like what we're reading right here. And that's the fact. All these people going to jail, especially so-called black men and young boys, are not because they're criminals. It's because they have been put on a path that almost guarantees they go to prison. Let's keep reading. Forced labor, that's called slavery, took many forms, including convict labor, debtor's servitude, and peonage. Self-made industrialists of the southern United States, including John T. Milner and James W. Sloss, built their wealth and industries on this labor. But I'm sure their descendants or their people that benefited from that today, these Caucasians, will try to act like they earned that wealth. You see? No, they got wealth off of our people's backs doing free labor in the prison, who should not have even been locked up. But today they will tell you, black man, to pull up by your own bootstrap. And I'm telling you, they're a bunch of damn liars. They didn't work hard for their wealth. They stole it from you during slavery and during Jim Crow and convict leasing, slavery by another name. Believe that. And you can get great details on this in Michelle Alexander's book called The New Jim Crow. And then there's another book, I forget the author's name right now. It is called slavery by another name. You can get the actual books or the audio books, right? Let's keep reading. Much of the country's infrastructure, encompassing roads, railroads, buildings, and levees, was built out of this abusive system. Let me read that one more time. Much of the country's infrastructure. You understand what I'm saying? So if you on I-10, I-55, I-40, I-90, whatever I-interstate you on, I-265, that's called infrastructure. Roads, railroads, buildings, you understand? Skyscrapers, banks, courts, levees. This was built out of this abusive system. So stop saying that our people are lazy and just need to work harder. You're a damn lie. Because this so-called white man hasn't earned anything. He has stolen, raped, tortured, pillaged, robbed, and a few of them may have actually done some work. You understand? On top of that, and then have the nerve to want to overthrow the country on January 6th, 2 years ago. And by the way, don't think I support the Democrats. Don't get it twisted, because I don't. But I'm just telling you, they ready to overthrow the country 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, because they lost one election. But look what they did to us. See? How would they feel if this happened to them? What I'm reading about, plus slavery and all the other things they hide from us. Let's continue. You know what? So yeah, I'll stop right there. Look, so there's much more information, but I hope this has been informative for you. Share your comments in the comment section. Share your thought. If you appreciate the content, subscribe, like the video, and stay tuned, because I plan to be coming with more information like this on a regular basis to try to educate, try to share some practical knowledge, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Because first you need knowledge, right? Truth. Then you need understanding. You need to understand why the knowledge is true and how it works. Then after that, you'll be able to act and operate in wisdom. So with that, I hope you have a good day.